So in 2020, there was a big world event called COVID-19. And when COVID-19 hit, unfortunately, that meant I lost my sales job. Because we could no longer do fulfillment for clients. Like, I worked for a home improvement company. They couldn't go around to the houses, give quotes, fit windows. They couldn't do any of this stuff during COVID. So unfortunately, I lost my sales role. And that had a massive impact on my life because I went through a period of time where um, I just felt powerless almost. I felt powerless because I had this sales job. I was in college. I got into sales. I thought I'd finally found my thing after my whole life. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought I'd finally found my thing that I was good at, which was sales. I finally found my thing. I was getting into it. I had my own team. I was a team leader. I was getting into it. And then I lost my sales role thanks to COVID. Felt powerless. Felt powerless. I was stuck at home. I couldn't do kickboxing anymore. I couldn't go to work. I wasn't earning money. And I just fell into a very dark place. I really just got into degeneracy throughout COVID. What did I start doing? I started playing video games. Started feeling sorry for myself. And then eventually when it came to looking for a job and I couldn't get any jobs, I ended up out of desperation getting a job at the Amazon fulfillment center. Some of you guys watching this video might still work there to this day. Some people might have worked at Amazon in the past. But if you've never worked at Amazon, I'm going to tell you that it was some dark days working at Amazon. But before I could drive, I'd wake up at 4:45 in the morning. I'd wake up at 4:45. I'd get ready. I'd go. I'd leave my house and walk 20 minutes through the pitch black, the cold, the rain, whatever it was. I'd walk 20 minutes, go wait for my bus, get the bus for town, and then once I got to town, I'd be waiting in the cold for another 50 minutes or so. Just stood there in the cold, shivering away, waiting for my next bus to take me to Amazon, which was another 50 minutes on the bus. So I had a very long journey to Amazon, pitch black, freezing cold, UK weather. And then throughout peak time, yeah, I'd get to work. It'd be pitch black in the morning. By the time I get to work, it'd be pitch black. There was no windows in this building. It was just a giant metal box. A giant metal box with no windows. I'd be working 10, 12-hour shifts at Amazon. And then by the time I left work, it was still pitch black. Throughout peak, you had to work mandatory overtime at Amazon. You had to work mandatory at least 50 hours a week. I was working 60 hours a week, though. I was working 60 hours a week at Amazon, so that means I was only seeing daylights 1 day per week. I'd go into Amazon, it was pitch black. By the time I left this giant metal box, it was pitch black. I would only see daylight for 1 day a week. So this is what I mean when it was dark times. It was literally dark because I wasn't getting any sunlight. I wasn't getting any sunlight, and that's why I probably looked so unhealthy. But yeah, the job at Amazon, since this was through COVID, there was a lot of COVID restrictions. We had to wear masks. We wasn't allowed to communicate with our peers. We weren't allowed to talk to each other. What I did at Amazon is I was just packing the boxes, all of the products that you get from Amazon. Okay, I get the item, I scan it, I put it in the box, I pack the box, press the tape it, turn it around and push it. That's what I had to do. Just doing that all day, just packing boxes, pushing it, packing boxes, pushing it. That's all I was doing for 10 hours straight. Stood up in the same place, not even sat down, stood in the same spot 10, 12 hours without talking to anyone. We had screens literally separating us from the people around us because of COVID restrictions. I was literally a robot. Like a robot could have done what I did. I was a robot. Just stood there mindlessly pushing boxes. Bang. It was bullshit. That's what I did at Amazon. And yeah, I really, really hated my life while I was there at Amazon. It was very, very miserable. I absolutely hated it. I was getting paid like £10, 40 per hour, which wasn't that bad for like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, but like it was dark days. It was dark days, long hours. I hated the job. I hated the managers, hated the people there. We had to go get COVID tests like every week or something like that. Mandatory COVID tests. It was just a horrible experience working at Amazon. And then it got to a point where, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the story, maybe you've seen it on Sam's podcast, but it got to a point where it's like enough was enough. I was watching Hamza's YouTube video whilst I was playing Smite. I realised that, okay, this is not the life that I want to live. I hate my life right now and there needs to make a change. I did what David Goggins told me to do. I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm not living up to my potential. So I deleted the video games, I cut everything out. And I remember thinking at this period of my life, like, I was dialed into self-improvement. I took a whole year where I was just fully dedicated to self-improvement. In fact, I actually quit my job at Amazon as well because I had no time for myself while I was working there. And then I got a job at Nando's, which was a lot better. But I remember thinking throughout this period of self-improvement that I wish there was just a way where I could just make £1,000, £2,000 a month from doing something that I enjoy doing. I wish I could just make one to 2K a month from my phone, from home, so that I've got the freedom to just truly pursue my purpose, truly just commit to my self-improvement. That's all I wanted at the time. I wanted just 1 to 2K a month, and that felt like such a big goal for me to aim for. 1 to 3K, 1 to 2K a month from my phone. No, not many people are doing that. Everyone's got the normal jobs, but that's because I was conditioned. I was a product of my environment, right? I'm working in these places like Amazon where there's thousands and thousands of employees in this one building, this giant metal box, and they're all there slaving away. Like, that's what I knew because that was the environment that I was in. It seems so crazy to me that maybe I could even make the same amount of money that I was earning at Amazon, but on my own terms. That seemed crazy to me, and that's the goal that I was aiming for. So I was at the gym. I went to a high-end gym while I was working at Nando's. I was dialed into self-improvement. I was training like crazy, and that's how I met my mentor, Jay, at the gym, actually. And I was just talking about this with Jay because Jay was, doing pretty well for himself, quite a rich guy, quite a wealthy guy. Yeah, he was the guy at the gym with just the sick car. I was speaking to Jay about this. At the time, I had a little theme page called the Masculinity Club, which was like a little side hustle, I suppose, but I wasn't making any money from it. And he was asking me like, okay, like what? I was telling him that I was telling him my plans. That I want to be able to just make money for myself, use the internet. I was like, what's your plan? I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, what are you good at? And I was like, oh, well, I was pretty good at sales. So he was like, why don't you find a way to use sales to start making money online then? I was like, you know what? Yeah, I didn't even think to do that. It didn't even cross my mind to get back into sales. And literally, that's how I stumbled across remote appointment setting. Now, I got into a remote appointment setting, and to be honest, like, since I got into appointment setting, since that point where I had the conversation with Jay, and then I got into appointment setting, it doesn't feel like I'm living in the same world as everyone else anymore. It felt like I've just changed dimensions all of a sudden. I was in this dimension. I was working at Amazon. I was working at Nando's. Had this brokey mindset. And then I got into appointment setting. It's like I elevated. I'm somewhere else now. I'm not living in the real world. Because ever since I literally first got into appointment setting, life has just been a bit mad. I signed my first client in appointment setting within 3 days. I made my first 1.5K within 5 days. An appointment setting. This is going from someone who had barely any success, like pretty much zero success with any sorts of online income before. This is someone that was aspiring to make 1 to 2K a month, and I've gone and made that in my first week in appointment setting. I tried side hustles before. I've made a little bit of money when I was doing thumbnail design and the color grading pictures. But like we're talking like couple of quid, less than £100, And then I've got into appointment setting, remote sales, and I just found it unbelievably easy because I spent months and months of my life cold calling, door-to-door sales, all of these things where I'm talking to people that don't want to talk to me. And then I got into appointment setting, which is a sales role, where I'm only talking to people that actually want to talk to me. DM appointment setting through Instagram. I was doing cold outbound. But the thing is with cold outbound, people think that it's a lot harder than it actually is because if they're replying to you, they are probably somewhat interested. Like, if they're not interested at all, they're not going to reply to you, right? So every day, the conversations that you're having are people that actually want to talk to you. And I just found it so easy. I was doing outbound appointment setting for a creative and distribution agency, and then I'd crack the code. Boom. I'd got to the point where I was finally making money online from my phone. But of course, like I said before, I was a product of my environment. I wanted to make 1 to 2K a month, but as a guy in self-improvement, as a masculine man, as a savage, obviously I'm not just going to get complacent at 1 to 2K a month, right? I'm not a bitch. I didn't get complacent. I kept pushing. I scaled as an appointment seller, 5K months, 5.5K months. I think 5.55 was the record month that I hit as an outbound seller. And then strategizing with my mentor, Jay, again. Strategizing with Jay. I had the plan to build an appointment setting agency, and a training program to service that agency. Now, fast forward today, if I was to make 2K in a week, that would be considered a bad week for me. Like, obviously, that's probably gonna upset people. Like, sounds like I'm sort of bragging or something, but like that is just the truth. We speak the truth here. If I made 2K in a week, that's a very bad week. And it's got to a point now where I can very, very confidently say I will never be broke again. It will never get to a point where I've got to go get a job at Nando's, because like, even if the business was burned to the ground and I could never start a business ever again, I know wholeheartedly it would be pretty straightforward for me to make consistent at least 2-3K months as an appointment setter. But I mean, realistically, a lot more than that. Even if I couldn't work as an appointment setter, fuck it, I'd go work as a closer. I know how to work as a closer. I've been closing my own deals now for 2 years. Been closing for my clients as well. Even if I couldn't work as an appointment setter or a closer, thanks to the network that I have now, oh bro, I'll just go get a job with one of my boys, or one of my boys' companies, one of my friends that does 150K a month. I'll just go work for that guy. I'll do something. I'll just be there for vibes. I'll just be there for vibes, and I'll get paid. Because no matter what happens, I will never be broke again. Connections, skills, credibility, never gonna happen. But I just think it's crazy that I went from literally just almost dreaming like, I wish I could make 2K a month online on my own terms. That was the dream. That was literally the dream, and now it's at a point where it's like that's a bad week. It all comes down to being in a product of your environment. One thing that I found since I'm back home in England is I'm automatically in work mode again, because I'm literally sat in my office like all day. I'm working. I've accidentally fell out of the high energy lifestyle that I was talking about and back into social autist mode. And it's really funny because, again, subconsciously I didn't choose to just, okay, I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna be a social autist. It just happened subconsciously because of the environment that I'm in, because I'm used to just working in this office. I'm used to sitting here working 12 hours a day, and now I'm just working 12 hours a day unintentionally. I'm going to break the cycle now that I've just sat here. I've analyzed the situation. I've identified that I'm being a social autist again. I'm going to break the cycle. I think I'm going to make a trip to London this weekend. I was thinking about doing it next weekend, but you know what? This weekend, I think I'm going to make a trip to London. Stop being an autist. But yeah, well, we are creatures of habit. We are products of environment. Change your habits, change your environments, and you will thrive. Hang around with people and speak to people every single day that are in a position that you want to be in. And that's going to be the only thing to reprogram your brain for abundance. Because if you're just speaking to broke people every day, okay, it's great that you are all aiming towards the same goals. But if they have lack and you have lack, then it's just going to create an ultimate circle of lack. You need to speak to people that are ahead of you. And that's what's going to be able to open your mind to the potential in the world. I remember speaking to Jay, having conversations with my mentor Jay in the gym, and literally just being mind blown with the stuff he's telling me about. You know, I was like, what? That's crazy, bro. And he's like, no, why is it crazy? And he'd ask me, like, why did I think that was crazy? He would, like, really, like, just go into my psychology, and he really helped me just reprogram my brain. You need conversations like that. If you don't have a mentor, anyone like that to speak to, go get a mentor. There's a million mentors. There's a million people that will mentor you as long as you throw some cash at them. Anyway, hope this helped, boys. As always, keep grinding.